Hey everyone, today we're digging into a pattern that's been hiding in plain sight, right inside the New Testament's original Greek. It's this recurring theme of first versus second that acts like a divine blueprint. And I'm telling you, once you see it, it's going to change the way you read the entire story.
So let's kick things off with a question that seems, well, pretty simple. Did you come before Christ or after? Now, historically, the answer is obvious, right? But the Bible asks this on a much, much deeper spiritual level. And the answer actually reveals something huge about where we stand.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with that big question. Then we'll decode the two Greek words that are the absolute key to all this. From there, we'll watch this pattern unfold with Adam and Christ, the Old and New Covenants, and even life and death itself before we bring it all back to you.
Okay, so back to our question. When the Bible talks about what came before and what came after Christ, it's not really talking about a simple timeline. It's talking about a spiritual reality. It's really asking, what system do you belong to? The old one or the new one? The first or the second? To really get our heads around this, we've got to look at the original language of the New Testament. You see, this whole idea hinges on two very specific Greek words that are used deliberately to show us a divine sequence in motion.
The first word is protos. This basically means first or former. It's the original, the one that kicks things off, the one that comes first in time or in rank. This is our starting point. And then we have Deuteros. This means second, the one that follows the first. But here's the kicker. In this biblical pattern, Deuteros isn't just number two. It's the successor. It's the replacement that was always intended to take the place of the old.
So, let's put them side by side. You've got Protos, that's the original, the former. And then you've got Deuteros, the successor, the new. One begins the sequence, but the other's designed to be its conclusion. And believe me, this contrast is no accident. It's a deliberate theological structure we're about to see again and again.
And this brings us to the heart of the matter. The New Testament writers use these words to show us something God does repeatedly. He intentionally takes away the protos, the first thing, specifically so he can establish the deuteros, the second thing.
You don't even have to take my word for it. It is spelled out with crystal clarity right here in Hebrews 10:9. This single verse is like the master key that unlocks this entire pattern. See, it's not about improving the first thing, it's about completely replacing it with something fundamentally new and better.
We can actually break this whole process down into 4 steps. First, the protos, the original system, is in place. Then, step 2, Christ arrives to do God's will. His arrival makes the first thing obsolete, so it gets taken away. And that's what clears the way for the second, the deuteros, to be established for good. So let's see where this pattern shows up. So where do we see this pattern in action? Well, it's all over the place. But let's look at 2 of the biggest, most foundational examples. The 2 men who represent all of humanity, and the 2 covenants that define our relationship with God.
Over in 1 Corinthians, the Apostle Paul draws this really stark contrast. You have the first man, Adam, our Protos. He's from the earth, a man of dust. But then you have the second man, Christ, our Deuteros. He's the Lord from heaven. You see, this isn't just a simple comparison, it's a complete replacement of our spiritual headship, a move from an earthly origin to a heavenly one.
The author of Hebrews uses the exact same logic for the covenants. The first covenant, the Protos, is actually described as having a fault. It was temporary, it couldn't ultimately save anyone. Because of that, it had to be replaced by a second covenant through Christ, one that's faultless, eternal, and written right on our hearts.
But this pattern of replacement, it doesn't stop there, not even close. It extends all the way to the very end of the story, and it shapes how we understand resurrection, judgment, and even the destiny of all creation. I mean, look at this, right here in Revelation. This is the cosmic grand finale of the pattern, the first heaven and the first earth, the entire Protos creation. It passes away. And what does God declare? Behold, I make all things new. That is the ultimate Deuteros. The new replaces the old on a universal scale.
Revelation also applies this first and second pattern to our ultimate fate. It makes a distinction between a first resurrection, the protos, which is reserved for believers, and the final judgment, which can lead to what's called the second death, the deuteros, the final consequence for those not in the book of life.
And right here, this pattern reveals an absolutely profound hope. Because for those who are part of that first resurrection, the scripture says the second death has no power. By belonging to the protos in this context, you are completely shielded from the finality of the deuteros. It's an incredible promise.
So let's bring all of this together.
We've seen this incredible pattern of replacement that runs all the way from Adam and Christ to the very end of creation. So what does this all mean for us, right here, right now?
When you boil it all down, the Bible is showing us more than just a collection of stories. It's revealing a divine logic. There is this constant, deliberate progression away from the Protos, the first, the earthly, the temporary, and always toward the Deuteros, the second, the heavenly, and the eternal.
And that brings us full circle. The real question was never about your place in history, it's about your place in this divine pattern. In this great biblical story of replacement, where do you stand? Do you belong to the first Adam or the second? To the old covenant or the new? Are you part of the first things that are passing away, or are you part of the new, eternal reality that God is creating?